Hello, and welcome to Get In, We're Going Healing, a place where we talk about mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being to help you learn to let go of the things that are holding you back from being your best, your greatest, your most authentic you. My name is Tova, and I'll be your guide. So it's been a minute since I've made a video. I've been in the thick of things. I have been doing the healing, doing the work. If you've been on this journey alongside me, you've also probably been doing the work and doing the stuff. There's definitely been a lot in the collective, a lot of people who are seeing the patterns. There's a lot of awarenesses coming online. There's a lot of, oh my goodness, sort of things happening. And I know they're happening not just for myself, but for the entire collective, because when I do my lives, which by the way, if you didn't know, I do live tarot pulls on Facebook every Thursday around, I'd say around 6:40 p.m. Ish, somewhere around there. And I do live pulls, and the messages that have been coming out in those live pulls are coming up the same type of messages I've been getting. So I know there's a lot going on in the collective. I've been going through a lot of transformation, a lot of work, a lot of awarenesses, a lot of the darkness. And that's what led me to want to come on today and talk about understanding the periods of darkness and understanding what they're for, and then how we move through it. So it's interesting because I had a fantastic conversation with somebody at my yoga studio a few weeks ago. And one of the things he said just resonated so hard for me, that on this journey, we have amnesia. So we have these lessons, right? So again, if you've been on this journey, you know. And if you're just coming across this in your journey, here's your tip, okay? We forget when we're in it, when we go through these lessons and they're hard and they're challenging and they put us through things that we didn't know that we were going to be able to get through. We managed to get through it. Sometimes we sail through it really well and like, whew, that was an easy lesson. And sometimes we just make it on the finish line. We just get to the other side of it. We just barely made it through that lesson. We did. We passed, but with like a 51%. You know what I mean? Like you just barely got there. So some of those lessons we just barely understood. And so we took some of that knowledge and awareness, but that lesson's going to come around again. And when it comes around again, by then we've forgotten how we got out of it the last time. We've forgotten how to move out of the whole pattern. And we go right back into the learning the lesson and the pain and the suffering and the hardship and that we do when we're caught up in it. Because when we're in the lesson, it's painful and we think that we're never going to get through it. And it hurts and we struggle and we resist and we push back and we try to change it and we rail against it and we wish it were something else and we fight it. But the answer is always to surrender. And it is, and he said it, and I said it, and it is always the truth. It is letting go of trying to make it into anything other than what it is. It's not only surrender, it's acceptance, and that is the way out. By accepting the circumstances as they are, not looking at what they were or what they could be, but accepting them for where they are in this moment. We let go of the pain, the stress, the tension, the pressure that comes with wanting it to be something other than what it is. Excuse me. And he was right. We forget because then it goes back to being something really good. We've overcome this lesson. We finished it. We've moved on. We remembered, oh yeah, I'm supposed to let go of it. I'm supposed to give it to source, give it to universe, give it to God, whatever moniker you give that thing that's higher than you, give it to that. And when you give it to that, you are no longer responsible for making an outcome happen. You are only responsible for reacting or responding to what shows up, what you then have to respond. It's like the difference between trying to figure out how you're going to talk to somebody and actually talking to them when they talk to you and responding to what they are saying to you, instead of monologuing in your head about what exactly you're going to say and how exactly you're going to say it. It's letting go and allowing it to just happen. And then you respond to what happens. And when we figure that out, everything goes back to comfort. Everything goes back to ease. Everything goes back to it feels good. And then the lesson comes back around, maybe packaged a different way, but the same lesson of letting go, surrendering, responding to what happens, responding to what shows up, not basing it on what happened in the past, not wishing for it to be something else in the future, but just allowing it to happen. And then we get in it and it feels really hard, and we make it hard, and we fight and we resist and we try to make it something else, and we say, I don't want to feel this. How do I not feel this? How do I get out of the feeling? Instead of realizing the way you get out of the feeling is by letting go of being worried about getting out of the feeling. It's allowing yourself to fall into a relaxed mode instead of a stressed mode about the situation. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. Every single situation is the same thing. It's all just a stressor, right? In terms of science, it's a stressor. It is something that takes you out of homeostasis. When you are in your calm basis, you are in homeostasis. A stressor comes and creates a response. The response is what makes you react to something. But when you learn not to be reactive, when you learn to be responsive instead, you don't have to react. The stressors don't send you out of homeostasis because you let go, you surrender, you take care of whatever you have to do. You accept the situation for what it is. And it's always the lesson, okay? It's always the lesson. And in the last little bit, it has been that as a twin flame update for anyone who's in, it doesn't even have to be a twin flame. It can just simply be relationship. There's this now understanding of letting go of worrying about where your partner is in their development, in their healing, on their journey, letting go of any concern whatsoever about what reactions they're going to take, what actions they're going to take, what things they're going to do or not do, letting go entirely of all of that. Accepting the situation for what it is, where it is, accepting them for who they are in this moment, who they've been, but understanding that the person they are now is who they are now, accepting them. And then instead of wanting them to be different, accepting that this is who they are. And if you could never change them, if they never change, what are you going to do? Because we spend so much time wanting to make our partner change, make our parents change, make our friends change, make our kids change, make other people outside of us change, and saying, if they changed, then I could. But why is your then I could reliant on if they change? Do you know what I mean? So the idea is more that you change. So let's say your thing is, if my partner showed me more care, then I would reciprocate more care. What if you just gave more care to begin with? Not if they, but you just did your part without the qualifier of them having to do their part. Just throwing it out there. Just, think about it for a second. What if you did the thing without them having to do their thing first? Okay. Let me give you another example. When we focus on another person's previous self, previous way of handling something, previous way of speaking to us, previous way of whatever that is, we are looking at a previous version of them who may not be the version of them they are now. Now, I will put a caveat. There are some people who are here not to grow, not to change. They are the same archetype their entire existence. There is no interest whatsoever in elevating, growing, getting beyond, and they're the ones who will stay stuck. Because if you don't change, you don't grow. If you stay the caterpillar and you never choose to become the butterfly, then you're just always going to be a caterpillar, and your life will always be being a caterpillar. But you have the potential to be the butterfly, if only you follow your instinct to create a chrysalis around you. And then we go into the darkness and the importance, and we've talked about this before, the importance of being in the darkness, the importance of the challenge. And that's the lessons, right? When the caterpillar is in the chrysalis, everything they know is torn apart. Everything about who they are is destroyed. Like cellularly, everything, the whole body shape, the structure, everything changes. And it's dark, and it's lonely, and it's painful, and it feels like it's going to go on forever and ever and ever. But it doesn't. It doesn't. At some point, the new body is formed. The new wings are formed. The new body is formed. And at some point, it's ready to break out of the chrysalis and step out into the world in its newly formed self. And I feel like that's what's going on in our collective right now within a lot of relationships. And what I want to remind you of within these relationships, when these triggers happen, they are there to break down who you thought you were, little caterpillar, who you thought you were supposed to be, little caterpillar. It's meant to make you look at what it is that you've built yourself on and ask, do I still want that? Do I want to bring that forward into my new butterfly self? Do I want to take that with me? And right now, I feel like in our collective, we are being given the opportunity to do exactly that. Let go of the things that are holding you back. Let go of the things that are keeping you as an older version of yourself. Let go of the pains and the baggage and the stories and all of that keeps you stuck in this previous version of you. Because, little caterpillar, you are not meant to stay a caterpillar. You are meant to be a butterfly, which means you have to let go of the old. And so bringing it back around to the conversation about relationships, and what I'm seeing in a lot of the tarot readings that I'm doing, a lot of the collective readings that I'm doing for myself and the collective readings, because I'm part of the collective too, what I'm seeing is there's a lot of conversation about letting go of the pains of the past, a lot of 10 of Swords, a lot of 8 of Cups, right? A lot of the letting go of the focus on the emotional pains, the suffering, where people have caused you pain, or the stories, the stories that you tell about the things that happened to you. I'm not saying they didn't happen to you, but it's telling the stories of the bad things that happened to you that keeps you stuck in the pains of the emotions. I've been reading Becoming Supernatural by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And one of the things he talks about in it is the reminder that when we think about something, we feel the emotions of the memory. When they've done a lot of studies about that actually show that when we think about something and really try to think about it, we can put ourselves in that. We can feel the things, and our body doesn't know the difference between whether we're actually there or whether we're just here having that experience. There's a similar reaction no matter what. So when we tell ourselves the stories of the things that caused us pain, we put ourselves back in that psychological and physiological state that we were in when that thing happened. So you could be having an excellent day, but tell a story of somewhere where someone betrayed you, maybe in your relationship or whatever, And you're going to put yourself back in that emotional state, and now your day is ruined. When you tell yourself the stories of your pain, you keep yourself trapped in the pain. We've talked about this. But here's the thing. This counts for when you're telling the stories of where your partner hurt you. It doesn't even have to be to others. It can be telling the story in your mind. If you're not doing it so that you can let go of it and say, you know what, I don't need this anymore. I'm letting this go. Because sometimes that's all it needs, right? On this journey, as we're learning to heal and feel through the stuff. Because in order to heal it, you have to feel it. It's not just a catchphrase, it is the truth. Excuse me. So in order for you to heal the pains of the past in the relationship, you have to allow yourself to fully emote the pain. So when the memory comes up, when you're in a private space, allow yourself to fully emote it. Feel the pain of the version of you when they were in that moment. The betrayal, the the disrespect, the betrayal, the lack of trust, the lack of connection, the pain, all of that. Let yourself feel it to its full extent. Cry it, scream it, let it out. The reason it's coming is so that you can let it go. 8 of Cups, 10 of Swords. Let it go. That's why it's showing up. It's not showing up. Excuse me. It is not showing up to say, oh, it's coming back around again and this is who they are. And maybe it is. Okay, again, I talked about those that are choosing to stay the caterpillar. If they are choosing to stay the caterpillar, it is only up to you what you're going to do about it. If they're never going to meet you as a butterfly, are you willing to stay with that? Is that going to work for you? Or do you want to find another butterfly? That's up to you. But let's say, for the sake of this discussion, that they are in the transformation. When you are in your cocoon transforming, feeling these feelings as they come up, letting the memory, the emotion of the memory hit you so that you can release the pain of the memory that's been trapped within you. You don't know what's happening for them in their cocoon and what memories and pain are coming up for them. So you can't judge and say, well, you're not doing it. Because when you start focusing on your partner and saying you're not doing the work, it's because you're avoiding you doing the work. And I hate it. I hated it when people said that. But it was actually true. When I was focused on he's not healing, he's not doing the work, he's not doing this, he's not doing that, I can't tell, I don't see any difference, I don't know. It was me not recognizing that was my ego talking to me from a space of fear. That I was afraid that he wasn't going to do the work, I was afraid he was never going to change. I was afraid he was going. So I either ran or I clung. But all of those are not accepting and allowing and surrendering, as I mentioned at the very beginning. All of those are clinging and trying to force and trying to make it happen. And the lesson, again, is always let go, surrender, allow things to transform without you needing to know what's happening every single step of the way. Allow it to just unfold like the wings of the butterfly. Allow it to unfold. So that is the lesson that's been coming around lately. And I really feel like this is just something that needed to be said out loud and nice and clear. It is coming up in the tarot readings. It is coming up in the personal readings I'm doing for other people. It is coming up in my own personal readings. And I'm hearing it come up from other people in their relationships and in their, and I'm seeing it play out in mine. And I can tell you, when we let go, the universe offers us better than we ever could have imagined. Whatever you're thinking is the best solution, the universe is like, yeah, that's a solution. Sure, that's a plan. I mean, we could go with that one. But if you could see what I have planned for you, you would definitely choose mine. So choose the universe's plan. Allow it to unfold. Allow it to be released. Allow yourself to let go and not try to cling and hold out of fear and desperation. Let go. And see when the universe says, listen, sometimes the universe is going to say, hey, I'm going to take it because it's going to go and that caterpillar is I'm going to put it in a chrysalis and wait till you see what comes out. And sometimes the universe says, hey, this is only ever going to stay a caterpillar and you are meant for a butterfly, my friend. You are meant for a butterfly. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it over there and don't worry, I'm going to bring you a butterfly. The universe knows the deal, knows what's best. So let go. Don't try to make all of it happen. Allow space for surprise. Let go. Let go of trying to hold it. Let go of trying to create it. Let go of trying to make it happen. Instead, it's about taking inspired action. When something comes in front of you, do you say yes? Do you say no? Do you take this action? Do you not take this action? That's all you need to do. You don't need to worry about, 50 million steps ahead. I know you planners like to think really, really, really far ahead, and that's great, but allow room for surprise. Allow room for things to surprise you, to shock you, to give you something new that you couldn't have planned for because you didn't know that was an option. Let go. You just worry about your healing journey. Don't worry about where everybody else is on their journey. If you're worried about everybody else's journey, you're not looking at yours. Go back to yours. When you keep working on you, even in the face of other people's choices to not work on themselves, it just reminds you of what would happen to you if you chose to not do the work. That's what those caterpillars are for. They're there to remind you what you could become if you don't do the work, which is such a motivation to do the work. It's such a good reason to do the work. So, I hope that this discussion helps somebody. Let go, let go, let go, let go. You don't need it. You don't want to be a caterpillar. You want to be a butterfly. Spread those wings, my butterflies. Today is the summer solstice when I'm recording this. It is the time of year. It is Litha within the Wiccans. And this is a time for harvest, for warmth, for abundance, for celebration, for feeling the heat and the warmth and the excitement. That's what this time is for. So this is the perfect time to unfurl those beautiful wings and allow yourselves to fly. Stop holding on to the weights, right? So until next time, keep letting go of those things, the things that are holding you back from being your best, your greatest, your most authentic you. Love and light. Bye.